What do you think you're made of?
Big question. Grit, determination, hard-working, handsome, charming, funny.
Well, I guess, but you're actually made of atoms.
Ah.
In fact, everything is made of atoms.
It's funny because I don't remember seeing any atoms last time I looked in the mirror, just these handsomely devilish good looks.
Well, atoms are tiny particles that are too small to see, even with a microscope. So if people were the size of an atom, the entire population of the world would fit into a box about 1,000th of a millimetre across.
Oh, wow. Teeny tiny. Well, is there a way to help us visualise atoms to help us learn about them?
Well, we usually imagine atoms to be like tiny balls like this. Now, to make the diagram simpler, we often just draw them as circles. So now an atom is the smallest particle of an element. There are over 100 different elements, and these are all made of atoms.
Ah, OK, right. Well, before we get into this further, let's check out the top things to know about all of this.
Particle diagrams. An atom is the simplest particle of an element. In a particle diagram, atoms are represented by a single coloured circle. When atoms of two or more elements bond together, they make a compound. These clusters of strongly bonded atoms are called molecules. See how they're represented by two circles of different size and colour that are joined together. This particle diagram represents water, or to use its chemical formula, H2O, which is a compound of the elements hydrogen and oxygen. In one molecule of water, there are two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. Particle diagrams can also show the ratio of atoms of each element in a compound, which in turn can tell us the formula of the compound, H2O.
OK, let's make sense of all this with Mrs. Roberts. Are elements made up of a mixture of different types of atoms?
No. So elements are made of only one type of atom. So different elements are made of different atoms.
Ah.
So, for example, we've got lead and we've got gold. They're both elements. But a piece of pure gold will contain only gold atoms, whereas a piece of pure lead will contain only lead atoms.
I get it, right. And then can we mix different atoms together?
Yeah, so two or more elements that chemically bond together will form a compound.
Ah, right. OK, so can you give us some examples of compounds? Could I find some at home?
Absolutely, we're surrounded by lots and lots of different compounds all the time. For example, we've got water. So water is a compound of hydrogen and oxygen. The chemical name for water is H2O because each of its molecules contain two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom.
So we call these molecules?
Yes, so a molecule is a word we use to represent the simplest unit of some compounds. So these little red blobs represent the oxygen atoms, and then the two white circles, they represent the two hydrogen atoms that are chemically bonded together.
So all of these molecules together make water, which is a compound?
Correct.